Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 17th Annual Induction Ceremony for the Regina Sports Hall of Fame. I'm very pleased to be up at the front with you again this year. For those who I have not had the opportunity to meet as yet, my name is Chris Hodges, and I have been given the opportunity once again to serve as the Master of Ceremonies for this year's induction ceremony. In a previous lifetime, I was the sports anchor at CTV Regina, and as I look at the list of this year's inductees, I see a number of very familiar names among the honorees. From basketball to bobsleigh, from the gridiron to the golf course, this year's induction class cuts a very wide swath through the rich and diverse sporting landscape that exists here in Regina. It is a diverse group of athletes and builders being enshrined this evening. But they all share a very common trait, and that is the desire and the drive to give everything they had to achieve the most from their time in their chosen sport. Whether it was standing in the still silence over an 8-foot birdie putt on a golf course or scoring a touchdown in front of a ravenous stadium of crazies shouting themselves hoarse, each of our nominees put their very best into the effort, leaving a lasting imprint on their sport and their community. And for that, they are all worthy honorees here this evening. As is traditionally the case, we gather on the Thanksgiving Day weekend to recognize and celebrate the accomplishments of this induction class, which is fitting, as we say thanks to those who are being honored tonight. We say thanks for the dedication to your craft. We say thanks for being a role model and an inspiration to your community. Thanks for leaving your sport in a better position than you found it. And thanks for taking the time to bring your families to be here with us this evening. At this time, I'd like to invite Brad Howard, the president of the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, forward to the podium in order to bring greetings on behalf of the board.
Good evening, everybody. I am Brad Howard, and I'm the president of the Regina Sports Hall of Fame. And on behalf of the board, I'd like to welcome you all to our induction ceremony tonight. Each year, we induct individuals or groups under the categories athlete, builder, patron, teams, or programs. Tonight, we induct 6 individuals who through their involvement in sport, displayed a dedication, excellence, and passion for the sport they loved. These individuals made significant contributions to sport at the local, provincial, regional, national, or international levels. And for this, we recognize them tonight. To the families and friends of these individuals being inducted tonight, we know their successes would not be without your support and encouragement to participate and reach their goals to be the best they can. So from the sporting community of Regina, thank you for that. Again, thank you so much for attending tonight. It's a wonderful evening, and also thank to Chris. We're so fortunate to have such a great Master of Ceremonies. He comes out each year to help us out, and Chris, we truly appreciate the work you do, so thank you for that.
All right, here we go. The Regina Sports Hall of Fame is all about honoring the past and inspiring the future. And we are pleased to welcome to the hall Georgette Reed, an athlete in athletics. Over the years, we have inducted a number of athletes into the Hall of Fame in one discipline, although they have demonstrated athletic proficiency in several disciplines. Few, however, have a resume that is as broad and as impressive as Georgette Reed. Most will know Georgette as the daughter of rider legend George Reed, but to recognize her solely for who her father is would be an injustice to one of the most impressive amateur sport careers that has ever been assembled. Georgette first made waves in the sporting community, quite literally, as a swimmer, representing Canada as a 13-year-old in 1981 as a member of the junior national swim team at a meet in Gothenburg, Sweden. That same year, she also represented Saskatchewan in the pool at the Canada Games in Thunder Bay, Ontario. In 1987, she went to Washington State University on a swimming scholarship, eventually switching from swimming to track in the 86-87 school year. In 1988, she made the Washington State track team, and that is very much where she found her groove. She came back to the Canada Games in Saskatoon in 1989, although this time competing as a shot put athlete and garnering a silver medal for her efforts. 1989 saw her win a bronze medal in the shot put and a silver in the discus at the Nationals. Followed that up in 1990 with a gold medal in the shot put at the Canadian National Track and Field Championships in Montreal, which was the beginning of an absolutely amazing run. From 1991 through 2003, Georgette was a 17-time National Track and Field Champion, 15 times in the shot put, twice in the discus. She represented Canada at the Francophone Games in 1989, 1994, 1997, and 2001, winning a total of 6 medals. She represented Canada at the Pan American Games in 1991 and again in 1995, and represented Canada at the Commonwealth Games in 1994 in Victoria, finishing 4th in the shot put, but perhaps more notably, being named the athlete representative and Canadian Athletics team captain. 1992, she shone on the largest of stages, representing Canada at the Summer Games in Barcelona, Spain, where she finished 15th. In 2001, she competed at the World Athletics Championships in Edmonton, also serving as the team captain. And in 2005, competed at the World Masters Games in Edmonton, winning a gold in the shot put and the discus. In addition to an outstanding competitive career, Georgette has coached at various levels and sports throughout the world, starting in 1982 and continuing this very year with a spot with the Under-20 Pan American Games team as the coach of the throws disciplines as they get set for their competition in Costa Rica. Upon retiring from competition, Georgette was the head coach of cross-country track and field for the University of Alberta for 10 years, helping develop champions at the provincial, national, and international level. She also served as a mentor coach for Special Olympics for their athletes and coaches in Alberta. In 2001, she was richly enshrined by Washington State University's Women's Athletics Program as an Athlete of the Decade All-Star Team honoree, and we are very pleased to welcome her here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest inductee of the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, Georgette Reed.
Wow, I've done a lot. Thank you. Thank you so much for this honor. It's always such a pleasure to come back home, and to be honored at home is just the most heartwarming thing for me. I've been able to travel around the world, and right now I live in Edmonton only because I work there, but my heart is always here in Regina, and I'm just so pleased and so honored to be part of the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, and especially to be inducted with such a great other group of honorees. So thank you so much for that. I'd like to thank my family for being here, my brother Keith and my sister Vicky, who came from Las Vegas to be here, my mom and dad, George and Angie, my friends Aaron and Diane that came from Edmonton, as well as Ann and Sherry, and then of course Nicole and Cash and Craig, my other family. So thank you so much. I never really thought I would ever be an athlete. When I was a little 4-year-old roly-poly, all I wanted to do was eat. And Dad just kind of kicked me out of the house and said, yeah, you got to stop eating. And, and one day I was sitting in our backyard off in Whitmore Park, and I fell in the pool and I floated. So Mom called the swim team. And that's kind of how I started. Bobbed along for a little while, and I wasn't very good at first, and I always wanted to quit. And Dad always said, well, never quit. You just try something new and just keep going. And so that's what I tried to do, is just to keep going. And I decided that I would just keep moving along and keep moving forward, and got into swimming and got better and better and better, and then ended up representing Canada and doing that and just enjoying that experience and thinking that was going to be the pinnacle. And then I got asked to go to Washington State University to swim on their swim team, and I thought, well, this is going to be great, and this is going to be the pinnacle. And then I had a shoulder injury. And my shoulder injury was my chance to try something new. I never thought I'd be playing with a little marble, throwing it around and tossing it in the air. And that little marble took me all the way around the world and to the Olympic Games, and is still a big part of my world today. And then because of throwing that little marble, I got asked to hurl my body down the ice at 130 kilometers an hour. And that was an interesting experience, being part of the National Women's Bobsleigh team and helping them qualify for the Olympics in 2002. So it's just been an amazing journey so far, and my journey keeps going on as a masters athlete, thanks to my inspiration, Carol Lafayette Boyd, who just keeps wanting me to keep going on and on and on, and keeps continuing to inspire me to keep wanting to rise higher, and that you're never too old to keep doing new things. So I thank you so much for this honor, and I thank you all so much for being here, and I am truly grateful and very blessed. Thank you.
Our next inductee into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame is Leanne McLean, a builder in the sport of curling. Over the years, there have been a wealth of successful curling events held here in Regina, and there is a better than average chance that Leanne's fingerprints are on there somewhere. Active in the local curling community since 1960, first as a member of the Tam O'Shanter, which then became the Tartan Curling Club, Leanne served as president and past president of the Saskatchewan Ladies Curling Association in 1991 and 1992. She was the Regina coordinator of the 1995 Scottish Ladies Curling Tour of Western Canada. In 1982, she was a Scott Tournament of Hearts committee member, and in 1998 was also on the committee, this time serving as the vice chair of hosting. She was on the committee for the 2001 Olympic curling trials as the vice chair of hosting, and a Saskatchewan Curling Association 100th anniversary committee member. Leanne served as the past patron of the Saskatchewan Curling Association. She was the executive member of the Tartan Curling Club Board of Directors from 2002 through 2019, was the director of banquets through the 2006 Tim Hortons Brier celebrations, and also the director of banquets 2 years later when the Scotties Tournament of Hearts made yet another trip here to Regina. She was the chair of the Scott Legacy Foundation twice and currently sits on the board, is a Curl Regina board member since 2003. She also played the sport a time or two, first as a high schooler back in the 1950s. Leanne's been an active curler for nearly 6 decades, primarily as a skip, competing at the club, regional, southern, and provincial levels. She enjoyed some tremendous success in the late 80s and early 90s, winning the Carlisle Ladies Bonspiel as well as the Weyburn Ladies Bonspiel in 1987. She was the 1999 champion of the Regina Ladies Bonspiel and a Masters provincial finalist in both 2001, 2002, and again in 2005. She won a provincial championship at the Masters level in 2006, and recently, I guess not so much recently, she received the Curl Saskatchewan Scotty Richardson Memorial Award back in 2010. Ladies and gentlemen, it brings me great pleasure to introduce the newest member of the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, Leanne McLean.
Good evening, Regina Sports Hall of Fame Board of Directors, fellow inductees, curlers, special guests, family, and friends. It is truly a gift to receive this honor tonight. Congratulations to fellow inductees David Bowen, Shanna McEady, Georgette Reed, Neil Hughes, and James Hillis. I am humbled to join you in this class of 2019. My interest in curling began many, many years ago in Mossbank, Saskatchewan. In those years, we not only walked to school, but also to the rink to skate and curl. I give great credit to my parents for their instruction in teaching me the fundamentals and rules of curling. I was hooked. I can't count the number of rocks delivered, games played, competitions entered, volunteer hours given, and board meetings attended. The sport of curling was, and still is, wonderful therapy for me. Once we moved to Regina, the Tartan Curling Club was my home of curling. I became a member of the Tam O'Shanter Women's League, where my first team roster included my mother, Lil Balfour, Mel Turner, Diane Bickle, and myself. Because we had so much fun and success, we curled together for over 35 years. Maybe it could be a record. I have had the good fortune to be involved in 2 international curling teams. In 1995, the Scottish Women's Tour team arrived in Regina to begin a tour in Western Canada. They arrived at 10 p.m. After an all-day flight, they arrived ready to party, and can I tell you, they know how to party. In 2000, the Ladies Curling Association offered me the opportunity to travel to Scotland on the Canadian Women's Curling Tour. We were there for 21 days, curled 23 games. We curled in a pig barn, a hockey rink with makeshift wooden hacks, and a banquet room with chandeliers hanging from the ceilings and mirrors on all the walls. We were treated and entertained royally. They loved to party, and there was always lots of shortbread, scones, and guess what? Lots of scotch. In 2006, Diane Bickle, Shirley Schmerler, Floydie Woolley, and I won the Provincial's Masters Championship. So off to Bridgewater, Nova Scotia for the Canadians wearing our Saskatchewan green jacket. We won our share of games and enjoyed the competition to the fullest, another thrill of a lifetime. My major event volunteering began for me in the inaugural 1982 Scott Tournament of Hearts here in Regina, and all other major events that followed, including the 2011 Men's World Championship. I love the opportunities to organize banquets for 500 excited curlers and guests, and many of these events. I thank event chairpersons Ev Cron, Bernadette McIntyre, and Karen Pasterfield for inviting me to get involved. Their knowledge, support, and encouragement was valuable. During my years at the Tartan Curling Club and the Tam O'Shanter League, and more recently the Caledonian Curling Club, I have had countless opportunities to serve in many capacities, which allow me to contribute to the operation of the clubs and the staging of many events and bonspils. My family was always a strong supporter, encouraging me to participate as a volunteer and curler. My husband, Bill, volunteers with me, doing whatever it is to be needed. You name it, and it gets done. When asked, are you still involved in curling? Before I can reply, Bill responds, "Is the sky blue?" Volunteers are our best supporters. Their loyalty is what makes all curling events successful. As Bernie would say, volunteering is wonderful. The opportunities are great, and it's fun. For me, being a volunteer, a rewarding journey, and I've enjoyed every opportunity given and the friends I've made. It has certainly enriched my life. My dream for curling in our city is for the clubs and Curl Regina to continue with a strategic plan to hope that in the future we will have a new multi-purpose facility for the next generations of curling to enjoy. A thank you to all my family, curlers and friends who are here tonight to support me. I thank the Regina Sports Hall of Fame for inducting me in the class of 2019. I am pleased and truly honored to be inducted into this accomplished group of 150 plus sports enthusiasts. And yes, Bill, the sky is still blue. Thank you, and have a great evening.
Our next inductee into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame is Neil Hughes, an athlete in the sport of football. Neil was a member of the Tom Trojans back in the Regina high school football days, eventually moving on to the Rams football program, first as a junior and then into the CIS. He was a member of the 1998 PFC Football Conference champions. It ultimately went on to win a national football championship later that fall. Following the 1998 season, he made the transition, as did the Rams program itself, from the junior ranks to the university ranks, and was a member of the first University of Regina Rams football team. Neil spent 5 seasons with the Rams. Most memorable performance in his Rams days was the 2000 Atlantic Bowl, where he amassed 241 yards on kick and punt returns, was named the game MVP, and helped propel the Rams to the Vanier Cup appearance later that season. Neil led the Rams in rushing in his senior year with 1,057 yards. Scoring 11 touchdowns on 160 carries, he led the conference in all-purpose yards with 1,684, was named to the Canada West All-Star team in his final season, and was named the Male Athlete of the Year at the University of Regina that same year. He is, to this day, the University of Regina's all-time leader in all-purpose yards. On October 25th, 2003, he had one for the books, rushing for an astounding 295 yards, setting the University of Regina single-game rushing record that still stands to this day. That year, Hughes also finished the season with 1,482 all-purpose yards, again, a record that still stands. Now, despite his record-setting career, Hughes went undrafted to the CFL, signing as a free agent with the Rough Riders in 2004. It was his team's first approach to the game, where Hughes established himself as a special teams wizard. In fact, in his rookie season, Hughes was called upon to provide punting duties on 2 instances. The result, 2 punts, 70 yards. Hughes also proved to be more than capable when called upon to provide offensively as well. Notable moments in his CFL career include his first CFL touchdown against the Edmonton Eskimos in 2007, a receiving touchdown in the West Final against the BC Lions later that year, and of course, the 2007 Grey Cup Championship with a victory over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Now, statistically speaking, 2008 was his best season for the Riders, picking up nearly 450 yards of total offense and scoring 7 touchdowns. He finished his career following the 2014 season, 260 yards rushing, 501 receiving, 14 touchdowns scored in 140 regular season games. In addition to the 2007 Grey Cup Championship ring that he wears, he also has one from the 2013 season. He was inducted into the University of Regina's Sports Hall of Fame in 2014, was a worthy honoree this past summer as he was inducted into the Ryder Plaza of Honor, and tonight takes his rightful place among the honorees in the Regina Sports Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the newest inductee to the Hall, Neil Hughes.
Wow. Well, first off, I just want to thank all the other inductees here tonight, and congratulations. Thank you for what you guys have done for sports in Saskatchewan. Being a young guy, you see some of those pictures up there. I grew up playing football in Regina and playing many sports, and always had great people around me that supported me in every sport that I played. So thank you guys for all that you've done for sports. Sports are near and dear to my heart, and I'm very proud and honored to be up here and be mentioned in the same breath as all of you here tonight. So that was a lot of stuff you said, Chris. I hate talking about myself. For those of you who know me, it's one of the toughest things for me to do. But I guess first and foremost, before I tell you a few stories, I need to thank some people that made this a reality. It's my wife, first and foremost, love of my life. Made so many commitments throughout my years with the Riders, raising our 2 beautiful kids. I thank you guys both for being awesome. You can smile for once, Callie. Yeah, 12 going on 13. So Dad's soon not going to be cool anymore, hey? Thank you to my mother, my father. Thank you guys very much for doing what you did to keep me in sports. I know money wasn't always there growing up, but you did absolutely everything you could to keep me involved in sports and help keep me out of trouble. So thank you so much to my aunties, my uncles, my grandma. Thank you, Grandma Carol, for your support. Auntie Donna, Uncle Stan, you guys know how much you mean to me. All those late nights in the garage where you and I would have a few wobbly pops and talk about the game after, and usually ended up in tears because we got emotional, which our family does quite often. And so, Uncle James, too, thank you very much for, I know you lived out in BC for a while, but when you guys came back, it was awesome to have you guys back in our lives. So, now I need to talk about somebody who's not with us any longer, and he's one of the most influential people in my life as far as football goes, and that was my grandpa Jarrett. He used to come to every RMF football game that I ever played. He'd show up when it was cold. He'd be out there with his old po' boy hat on and just a regular old farm jacket. He was an old farmer, and he'd come to watch every game, rain or snow or sleet, -30, whatever. He was out there watching the game. where most parents were in their cars watching, he was out there watching, tough old farmer. And he came to all my games, and he ended up getting lung cancer. So when I was in bantam football, I was 13 years old, he was sick in the hospital, and it was during football season that he passed away. It was actually a night that I had played running back in bantam football, and I scored a couple of long touchdowns, and the coach came up to me after the game, and he said, "Neil, your grandpa would have been proud of you." And I remember that like it was yesterday. And so that night he passed away, and I know in my room I was crying the whole night, and he used that emotion as a positive thing for me. And from that day on, he was one of my number one motivating factors in my life. And he was born in 1936, and so I tried to wear the number 36 for the Rams. I couldn't wear it for the Riders because they retired that number. It was Dave Ridgway, obviously, number 36. Actually, there was a picture of me and Dave Ridgway up in those photos. But so I couldn't wear 36 for the Riders, but I did at Tom, and I did with the Rams. And there's a lot of weird things that happened throughout my football career with that number 36. Just to give you some examples. In the Atlantic Bowl, where Chris was talking about how I ran a couple of kickoffs back, one was for a touchdown, and I look up at the clock, and it said 2:36. I'm like, huh. Looking up at the sky, "Grandpa, can you help me out here?" Take one back for a touchdown. That's one instance. Another instance, Western Final in BC. There's 4:36 left on the clock, and I look up, and we're down at the time. I said, "Grandpa, little help here?" Same series, I scored a touchdown from Kerry Joseph. And I can't make this stuff up. This is all true. So there's many, many things that happen like that throughout my life that involve that number. I know my grandpa's looking down on this night and looking down on our family here. That one really weird thing happened at the Plaza of Honor dinner this year. I was standing on the field, and actually before we got down on the field, the room that they had us in was 4:36. Like I don't know what the heck's going on here. So going down on the field and with Kerry Joseph, and I tell Kerry this story about my grandpa, and he's like, "Hey man, you ever add our two numbers up together? What does that equal?" It's like, holy crap, 36. What is going on here? And then look up at the score, and it's 24-12. Like, Kerry's like, "Look at the score. 36, that adds up to what's going on here?" And so it's just a lot of stuff like that has happened throughout my life. The family's always number one for me, and that's why I played sports, was to see the joy in my family's faces. I love playing sports, don't get me wrong, but to be able to share it with my family and to help uplift people in my family is very special to me, and I'm very, very proud to be up here and be a part of this. And thank you guys very much for this outstanding honor, and have yourselves a wonderful evening.
Our next inductee into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame is Dave Bone, a builder in the sport of water polo. Over the years, Dave has been a pillar in the water polo community. Starting in 1975-76, he was the coach of the Campion High School boys water polo team, served as the president of the Regina Senior Men's Water Polo League for a number of years in the late 70s. In the early 80s, he coached Sheldon Williams' boys water polo teams to 2 city championships, a second-place finish and a third. In 1983, he also had the opportunity to coach at the provincial level with the 16 and under boys team, as well as the first 14 and under boys team as well. He coached the provincial men's team at the Western Canada Games in '83 as well, so a very busy year for him there. 1984, he was recognized as the Sask Sport Volunteer Coach Award for water polo. As is the case with many of our builders, he dabbled in a number of sports, was also a coach of the RCBA for a number of years, first off in the 1987-88 season, and then again for a stint between 2000 and 2012. He coached girls club basketball, served on the board of directors for Sask Sport, including a position as the vice chair of sport from 2016 through 2018. was the president of the Regina Water Polo Association for a period of 4 years, and from 1979 to present has been a national coaching certification program coaching course facilitator, and most recently was recognized as the most valuable coach at the Under-19 National Championships. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the newest inductee to the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, Dave Bone.
Good evening, everybody. It's a great honor to be here. To start off with, this is Thanksgiving weekend, so it's quite fitting that I have some thanks to give. Thanks to Bill Pratt for putting together the nomination for me. Thanks for my support from my family, and thanks for all the family and friends and former athletes that came out, as well as the Water Polo Sask staff. I'd like to congratulate the other honorees as well. People often say some cliches about water polo, and so one of those is if it was easy, they'd call it hockey. Georgette knows, she played some water polo, and so did James Hillis. But water polo has been a passion for me, and through the decades, I've have nothing but joy to say about my involvement with water polo. Water polo is a family in itself. I really don't have much more to say than that, but I'm very appreciative to be here. Thank you.
Our next inductee into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame is Shannon McGeady, an athlete in the sport of golf. Shannon's path in the sport of golf got its start when her family built a house which was no more than a driver 6-iron away from the Wascana Country Club. She became a junior member when she was 10 and started playing there with her family. She was the first female junior club captain at the Wascana Golf and Country Club. It was more of a passing fancy for the first part of her life, but she started playing competitively in her mid to late teens, and once she devoted herself to the sport, the success and the results soon followed. She was the Regina High School City Champion in 1998, again the following year in 1999, and made it a three-peat the following year in 2000. 1999, she was also the High School Provincial Champion for the Saskatchewan High School Athletics Association. In 2000, she was recognized as the outstanding graduating female athlete at Leopoldus High School. She won 9 of 12 junior tournaments in 2000 and was a Summer Games medalist, a Saskatchewan Summer Games medalist in 2000 as well. She was the Regina City Ladies Golf Champion in 2004, 2005, 2006, and kept the streak going the following year in 2007. 2007, she was also the Saskatchewan Ladies Amateur Champion and a captain of the Saskatchewan team that represented the province at the National Championships later that summer. She was awarded a Division I scholarship to Marshall University in West Virginia, but opted not to go, rather going to Lethbridge and taking the professional golf management program in hopes to one day pursue a career in the industry. And that is exactly what she has done for herself. She is now the head professional at the Tobiano Golf Club in Kamloops, British Columbia. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the newest inductee to the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, Shannon McGeady.
I would just like to thank the committee and everyone involved for this incredible honor. I'm very grateful and humbled to become a member of the Regina Sports Hall of Fame. And a big congratulations to all of the other inductees that are being honored here tonight. Definitely, truly deserved, probably more so than myself, so congratulations to you guys. I've been very fortunate throughout my life to have had so many people supporting and encouraging me along my journey. Graham Coulter, he was the head pro at the Wascana when I was growing up as a junior, and he took it upon himself to offer free clinics to all the juniors coming up at that time. I'm pretty sure he had better things that he could have done on a Sunday morning than teaching a bunch of 10 to 14-year-old girls how to golf. But he was amazing. He taught us the fundamentals and the golf swing, and he was always there for a tune-up anytime you needed it, and he was always so engaging and made golf fun. And so he was very instrumental in the swing that I have today. Cease Ferguson. He was the biggest teddy bear of a man. He took it upon himself to share with me his wisdom, his experience, and to try and teach me the patience and the skills that it takes to manage your way around a golf course, which is definitely something that I'm still trying to master, but I feel as though I couldn't have learned it from a better person. As a female growing up playing competitive golf, it definitely wasn't the coolest sport. There was no Brooke Hendersons or Michelle Wees or Lexi Thompsons at that time. The clothes consisted of my brother's hand-me-downs or the most god-awful floral patterns you could possibly imagine. Let's just say stopping at Mac's or 7-Eleven on your way home from a day of practice felt more like a punishment than a reward. The fear of seeing someone you knew wearing your golf clothes was absolutely paralyzing. Definitely not something my school friends could relate to, or even anything that I really wanted to admit to them. I was lucky enough to find a group of wonderful players and friends within the golf community. Kim Walker, Tamara Harrison, Lori Boyle, Amanda Minchin, Bobby Brandon, just to name a few. They were amazing to go through the game with. The cool thing about golf is that as much as you're competing against other people, you're actually really competing against the golf course and yourself. So to have the type of support system that all of those people I mentioned had within that group of girls was really, really special. After high school and several failed attempts at university, I was working at the Murray Golf Course and not really sure what to do with my life. It was the Hinge, Brad Harridge, who encouraged me to join the industry. And I am so glad that he did, because I really feel as though at that time I found my purpose and my passion. I have worked my way to be one of 5 female head professionals in British Columbia and to be the head professional of one of the top 10 public golf courses in Canada. With the support and guidance of the owner and general manager, I really feel as though that I have my dream job. All of the people that I have mentioned thus far have helped shape me as a person, a player, and a professional. But there's a couple more that mean the most to me. Gord Staceyson. There really are no words to describe what that man has done for me and what he has meant to me throughout my life. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even be standing here today. With his charm and charisma and influence, he could make anything happen. He was like the Godfather. You needed a club, he got you a club. You needed a bag, he got you a bag. You needed funding for a tournament? No problem. He worked tirelessly to get the junior program at the Wascana to the place that it is today. And he did it by taking a vested interest into every single kid that was there. He saw things in me and believed in me more than I ever did, or probably even still do to this day. He was a mentor, a supporter, a friend, and my #1 fan. Now, most people say that they have the best family, but pretty much mine kicks ass. The past and the present and everyone here today, I am very grateful to have the love and support of all of these people from the time I was a little kid to this very day, and all of you sitting there is evidence to that fact, so thank you. Now, let's be honest. Growing up as a kid, I'm pretty sure my dad blames the fact that he's follically challenged on my brother and I. And according to my mom, she never swore until she had us effing kids. At least we know where I get my potty mouth from. As a parent, having a child competing at an elite level requires a lot of sacrifice. My mom never once hesitated or complained about the weekly trips to Saskatoon in the dead of winter for training camps. With a 16-year-old daughter who was, well, less than willing to engage in any sort of conversation, I wish I had taken the time to appreciate those sacrifices the way that I do now. As a working mother and mother of two, two-time cancer survivor, you are the epitome of strength and courage. I only hope that I am able to tackle life's challenges with the same grace and positivity that you have consistently shown throughout my life. I love you, Mom. Dad, oh man, we've had some ups and downs on the golf course, hey? Dad is my caddy from the high 90s to the low 70s and everything in between. There was the shots out of the rocks at Canadians, drivers off the deck, the mental breakdowns, the tears, the arguments, mostly about club selection. I hate the fact that you were always right. You have always been there, reminding me to breathe, like I should be doing right now, suck it up, and just hit a golf shot. You've taught me never to be scared to make a mistake, and never to be afraid to try new things. Mistakes are how you grow and how you learn to do things better, and taking chances is how we find out what we're really made of. Thank you to my mom and dad for always encouraging me to be myself, accepting my potty mouth, and teaching me how to be happy. Thanks.
And our final inductee into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame this evening is James Hillis, a builder in the sport of basketball. Now, let's face it, there's not much in the world of basketball that James Hillis hasn't done here in town. As a player, he played high school basketball at Campbell, where he was a league all-star and won 2 senior boys city championships and 1 provincial crown. He played 5 years at the University of Regina, where he was a 2-time Great Plains Athletic Conference all-star and holds the team record for most consecutive games played at 173. As a coach, Hillis has done even more. Most in the room will recognize James from his 19 years as the head coach at the University of Regina, and in his time at the helm of the Cougar program. The Cougars made the playoffs in 18 consecutive years. They were ranked in the top 10 nationally in 14 of 19 seasons, and James himself was a 4-time GPAC Coach of the Year award winner. Beyond his time as the head coach of the Cougars, James has made significant contributions at all levels of the game. Provincially, he was the head coach of the 1995 Western Canada Summer Games team. He was the head coach of the 2005 Canada Games team that won bronze, a 4-time provincial club championship winner, and the 2016 head coach of the Team Regina squad that won a bronze at the Saskatchewan Summer Games. Internationally, James's fingerprints are on the 1999 Canadian men's national team, where he served as an assistant basketball coach and advanced scout. He was also a member of the staff responsible for Pan American Games and pre-Olympic qualifying, and in 2000 was an assistant basketball coach for the Canadian men's Olympic team selection camp. Locally, James gives back. 2002 through 2016, he's been a basketball coach for the RCBA. Over that time, coaching 21 boys teams at various age classifications. 2013-14, he was the head coach of the Leopoldus High School junior boys team that won a city championship, capping off an undefeated season. And in 2017 through 2019, served as an assistant coach for Leopoldus's senior boys team. He also gives back in terms of his administrative and executive presence. Most notably, from 2007 to this very day, he has served as a member of the board of directors for Basketball Saskatchewan. James is a National Coaching Certification Program Level 4 coach and course instructor, speaks regularly around the province at coaching clinics and basketball camps here in Saskatchewan. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the newest inductee to the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, James Hillis.
Thank you. Those lights are bright. So that's good. I won't see any of you out there. I've got mostly thank yous. I want to thank the Hall of Fame and Board of Directors. Congratulate all the inductees from this year, and thank you for this honor and this wonderful evening. Begin with, I'd like to thank my good friend and former teammate, Chris Beegler. for nominating me for the Hall, and putting the nomination together is appreciated very much. Chris was recently inducted into the SAS Sport Hall of Fame and spoke different format there, and he spoke on behalf of all the inductees. And I have to reference him because I think he said he wanted a royalty on this, on the metaphor that he used, but he said that the inductees there, and it was very good, he used the Malcolm Gladwell book, I won't get into the whole thing, but that they're really the tip of the iceberg, and behind that, underneath the water, is all the support, and that support is many of you in the room for various inductees. And so I just, my thank yous today will be directed at those people who have been so involved and helped me out through the course of time on this journey. First, I'll start with the most important people, so that when the music starts in 5 minutes here and I'm off the stage, I don't forget. But that's my family, and I'll begin with my wife, Darlene, and children, Sam, Ben, Gabby, and Zach. Gabby and Zach are here. Sam and Ben are on a plane on the way back from Ontario with the Cougars. The kids had no choice in this process and were along for the ride, whether they wanted to be or not. The sacrifices that a family makes in a coach's lifestyle are significant. I thank them for their patience and understanding of Dad's odd hours. My wife, Darlene, has been a huge supporter and advocate from day one. My involvement in basketball at the highest levels would not have been possible without her backing and encouragement. When we first began dating, she was teaching at Leopoldus and coaching in chronological order, and this is in the same year. I'd like you to remember this. This is in the same year from September to the end of June. Senior girls volleyball in the fall, senior girls basketball in the winter, senior boys volleyball in the spring, because in those days they had volleyball opposite football so that the kids could play both, and the boys, softball, and then helped with track and field in June. So she was a committed and still is a committed and accomplished coach herself, and so understood the time and the commitment that is required to coach at a high level. So I thank her for her support and continued support as I muck around with the Leopoldus senior boys. I'd like to thank my parents, and particularly my mother, Alma, who many of you that came out to Cougar games would have recognized her. She attended games to watch me play and coach right up until her 95th year, and watch her grandkids in those last years playing for the Cougars. Mom didn't play any sports growing up, never forced me to play any myself, but was always fully supportive. She came to the games, never really fully understood why the whistle was going all the time, and maybe why on that particular occasion I needed to talk to the referee about something. But she was a model fan, and at Sunday dinners always had something positive to say, and always had a player that she wanted to pick out, that they had such good throws. And to her 95th birthday, it was the good throws. It was never a shot. It was always the good throws. So after a while, you just kind of give up. But she enjoyed that. My brother Brian and his family, who are here tonight, Brian always advocated for pursuing a true vocation. Shannon spoke to that, and it was sort of a nice fit with mine. He's still doing that as the president of Luther College, and counseling people to do that. Brian was the first to suggest to me that I should try and pursue this coaching thing, as it seemed to him anyway, that was all I talked about as I was helping out Leopoldus at that time. Ron Pettigrew gave me a chance to coach, and I was helping out with Ken Murray in the provincial team in the summer. And he said, why don't you try and do that? And I had never, to be honest with you, at that point, even thought, I just finished off my degree. I never even thought of coaching as a profession, as a career that you could, maybe somebody would actually pay you to do this. So I appreciate his guidance and support and direction in chasing that. I had the good fortune growing up in Regina here to be involved with some of the truly iconic coaches in our local basketball community. Glenn Zabel was my high school basketball coach. And he demonstrated the value of scouting and preparation, if you knew Glenn. Lunch hour meetings of scouting reports, and you're always prepared going into a game. Ron Pettigrew is not with us anymore, sadly, but he gave me my first experience as an assistant coach at Leopoldus. I think he did that because I was always hanging around waiting for Darlene, and he figured if I was going to be there anyway before or after practice, I might as well be doing something. So he asked me, and Ron was well respected in the basketball community and loved by those that played for him. I think Chris can attest to that. He played for Ron, and I learned a great deal from him. At the next level, Ken Shields and Guy Vitry, whose names may not be familiar here, but are icons nationally, and who mentored me during my first 2 years at UVic and with the national team and with the Vikes. I'd like to thank also the many, many athletes and parents who I was engaged with over the 33 years. The many incredible assistant coaches at all those levels. I wish I was trying to put together a list and realized how long that would get, and so I will spare you. But there's one I do want to mention, and that's Steve Burrows. Steve was with me for 17 years at the U of R, which is a long time as an assistant coach, I can tell you, talking to other coaches around the country. He's now the head coach, as I'm sure you know. And during those 17 years, he never missed a trip and barely missed a practice. And that kind of commitment makes everyone, and it made the team better. And he's doing well with the Cougs. He's on a plane on the way back right now. And I'm sure we'll enjoy continued success there. Continuing with the U of R, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Dick White. Dick was the athletic director for 17 of my years. He's a former inductee into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame. As a young coach, it seemed as though the athletic director's job was just to say no to you when you walked into the office and ask for money for a trip or for scholarship or for something that we didn't have budget for. As coaches, we never understood why he just didn't reach into the big bag of money that we all thought he had behind his desk and give us some. As I moved through my time at the U of R, I grew to appreciate the tremendous job that Dick did with the coaches and the teams and allowing them to grow and prosper during some very difficult fiscal times. I'd like to thank you, Dick, for your time, commitment, and support over the years. Ryan Shatta. Ryan is kind of the ghost of Cougar basketball. People all the time ask me, who's this Ryan Shatta? Who is this guy? I don't know. He's a frequent poster on social media in one platform or another, and still maintains a website for all things Cougar basketball. He developed an alumni list going right back into the 20s. Communicated directly with Dick Irvin to get him to speak at one of our Cougar fundraising dinners, and is still involved to this day. I was lucky enough during my time there to have, I've anointed him the best manager of all time, Miles Knockbauer. Miles managed the team for 4 years while he was doing his degree and stayed on for another 4 after working his new job, and still today runs the URAT tournament, which is one of the fundraising pillars of the men's basketball program. Speaking of fundraising, which is always important to any coach, if you're involved, you always need to find those resources. I'd like to thank Gary Drummond and the Drummond family, who've been robust supporters of Cougar Athletics, and particularly the men's basketball team since Jason graduated from the team. Gary runs an annual summer event that's a huge fundraiser and has funded more scholarships than you can imagine, and general support for the team. It was wonderful to see Gary honored this week as a distinguished alumni for the U of R, and threw a significant amount of money at the new administration building there as well. University administration, Dr. Vian Timmons, who's the current president of the university, and her and her husband Stu, who I think have attended more athletic events and basketball games, of course, but more athletic events than any other university president, I'm sure. It's very much appreciated, and I think you maybe don't understand fully how that commitment manifests in the excellence that occurs with the teams. In short, basketball has given to me much more in terms of memories and lifelong friends than I could ever possibly give back. I'm not done. I'm still coaching, and I'll still be involved with basketball, Saskatchewan, and other things, and I'll try, I guess. But I think I can speak on behalf of all the inductees that those memories are it. I could be up here forever and tell stories. I was trying to set the record for brevity, but Dave Bone beat me to that. So I lost that one, so you'll have to apologize to me for that later, Dave. But I'd like to thank you all who came out tonight in support, and thanks again to Hall for bestowing this honor. It's warmly received and very much cherished. Thank you.
How about a round of applause? Congratulations to all of our inductees this evening.